It felt like we were in this other world.
There are dangerous pitfalls and sinkholes.
I can handle mud wrestling, but singing was the worst.
There were incredible challenges shooting there.
I said to Geeta, this is an impossible shot.
Every time it happens, I was going, how is that working?
Bring on the birds!
It's about to kick off.
Come on, that's cool.
The cast has found their characters this season in a way that is really fun to see. They've been able to elevate the scenes that were already wonderful.
We have 5 directors this season. They are all incredibly talented.
Every director brings their own perspectives, and it's been really fun to dance with them each episode.
Every day, I think the amount of work that goes in. Thank you to everyone who does work on this show, because it is done with such grandeur.
Everyone is so skilled in their own department that I just feel like the luckiest girl in the world to really be able to work with these people.
2 years in, the sheer scope of it still stuns me.
There's not an element of the day that doesn't become a pinch me moment.
It's just turned into something bigger and grander than I ever could have imagined.
It's been incredible. What a story to tell.
When Tywin Lannister goes to the Tyroshi Pavilion, we needed to create a new world for him to feel uncomfortable in.
It's an opportunity for us to explore this new world that we haven't been to yet. Geeta really seized that opportunity with both hands and got everybody around the table to really build that world.
There was a good bit of concepting to make it feel like it was one cohesive world. The exotic location is to feel that this is a different culture than the Westerosi culture that we're used to seeing.
For the Tyroshi Pavilion, I was trying to strike a completely new vernacular for that. It's another look at different architecture in the show.
Ryan and I started thinking about all the things that a Westerner would feel uncomfortable around. If you have to take off your shoes, if you have to sit on the floor, if there are wild animals around you. We started trying to create a culture and put Tywin in it, make him uncomfortable.
Geeta wanted a really wide shot introducing this place in this really epic landscape.
The opening starts where they've been sitting there for hours. It was Geeta's idea that we come in via a monkey.
We had a monkey, yeah, Rosie. The one issue was Jefferson doesn't like monkeys.
I went up to the monkey handler and I said, is the monkey going to be okay? And she said, oh yeah, she's lovely, but if you look her in the eye, she'll bite you in the face.
That monkey did not listen.
There was one point where Rosie started veering off towards Jefferson. Jefferson could hear the handler saying, no, Rosie, no, Rosie, no, Rosie.
So I survived that, but that was intimidating.
Admiral Aloha, this is Tywin Lannister.
Well met, Lord Tywin.
It's Thailand.
Shirako is the commander of this fleet. She feels like one of these very colorful characters ripped right out of the pages of George's books.
They really listened to me and asked, do you have ideas for the character? So I said, yeah, I'd love to take her in this dimension that she's like a female Blackbeard. Like, what if I was just absolutely like covered in knives and just had all this stuff?
We made a nice ornate sword which would sit on a hip and 8 different knives, and then it was working closely with the costume department as to where they would sit on the body.
That had to be built in to the look. She has a waistcoat piece and that's got all trinkets, coins and things that she's pillaged.
I will not sail with a man who cannot best me.
At what?
I put him through absolute hell.
I can handle mud wrestling, but singing was the worst.
Across the narrow sea to the ladies of King's Landing.
It's kind of worked. They were like, you really can't sing.
Well done, Lord Tyrant!
Jefferson is a natural comedic actor. Having him reacting to the bonkersness around him was really enjoyable.
A reflection at the end, he looks back and goes, wow, that was a hell of a trip.
The banquet scene in Dragonstone between Rhaenyra and her dragon riders, we wanted it to feel like a new space, so we shot it in the Chamber of the Painted Table, but we removed the table. And then we just wanted it to feel like an intimate feast that she's throwing for the riders so that she can tell them, you're going to war and you might die.
I'm always amazed by the creativity of the craftsmanship of pie, cakes, the puddings, the blancmanges. So stunning. And such a contrast actually to this granite brickwork of Dragonstone.
I love the pomegranates and those rich colours and the figs and the artichokes.
What a beautiful thing that is. It's a little work of art.
I was trying to keep the opulent colours and use flowers as well that they could hit light off, like pockets of fire almost. Just try and give it different tiered levels so that you could have different heights and candles amongst it, and then I think it really pops beautifully.
It's hard work training dragons, so just gotta store the protein and get the carbs in,
I picked duck, which is probably quite a bad decision because we were just eating the whole day.
Actors have got a thing where if there is an eating scene, they'll go, I'll cut this raspberry in half and I'll just pop that in.
I've got some raspberries, blackberries.
I was like, do you know what? We're gonna do this take a lot of times, so I'm gonna munch on them berries.
I ate probably 7 punnets of berries.
In King's Landing, we haven't had meat for months. And suddenly we're sitting at a table and there's plates of meat. I think I had 5 slices of duck every take.
Before we'd even gotten halfway through, he was stuffed with duck.
Thanks very much. Ah, magic.
And I was just there eating my berries you guys.
I'm not eating a thing tonight. It's gonna save me a fortune.
When you're the bloke saying, more little birds.
And some more of these little birds.
When those little birds arrive, you have to fucking eat them.
Bring on the birds!
Tom ate 2 birds a take.
I said more of these little birds. We're on bird number 8, 9.
He ate so many quails.
There comes a point in the day where you say to yourself, okay, I'm being paid to eat birds today.
16, 17 now.
And I'm gonna keep doing it until I'm sick.
He didn't look like he was suffering, but maybe he's just a really good actor.
20.
I'm gonna make you all think I'm so hungry that you want to eat the little birds.
24.
At some point, he's gonna have to stop.
It was over 30. 30 quails.
I said more of these little birds.
A knight will comport himself with grace at the Queen's table.
Best make me a knight then.
Coming into second season and having the honor of directing the final vision was quite amazing for me.
Do you wish then to learn what is given to you?
We wanted Daemon to have this final experience that was undeniable to him. These visions are going to change his world outlook.
Ryan and Sarah put together a list of all the things that needed to be in the vision, and then it was up to me to visually connect everything and stylize it. We came up with a tableau that really told the story quickly with a palpable feeling.
We shot the beginning as a direwolf point of view running through this snowy forest. This wave of White Walkers starts walking towards you, and you just smash into their face, basically.
Come on, that's cool.
In preparing for the White Walker scene, we definitely went back to Game of Thrones. We looked at how their eyes were depicted. We looked at makeup. We looked at costumes.
We're very lucky to have people on our crew who actually worked on the White Walkers in Game of Thrones, who were able to sort of tell us what kind of colour palette we should be using to stay consistent with what's gone before. From the time we knew we were going to do a White Walker, we had our performer in mind, Paul Casey. He's a movement performer, stroke coordinator, and he's got a very measured way of moving, and Paul was amazing. He's like a prosthetics veteran, so he's like a statue when you're sticking stuff on him, an old pro.
The first thing we need to do is just get all the basics right.
Timing, yes.
The set got quite busy. As soon as Paul came on set in his White Walker makeup, it suddenly started buzzing a little bit.
All of a sudden there was 150 people in there, and I thought, the only reason all these people are here is because these White Walkers, but I couldn't blame them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, marching.
There were 20 undead, slashes down their faces, prosthetic cheekbones, contact lenses, dentures. Our man who played the hero right upstairs with his teeth as part of the bust. We had the costume department green out areas so it appeared as though they were skeletons or missing limbs and stuff like that. It's just going to be a really powerful part of the end of the series, I think.
The White Walker moment was something that took me back to the roots of why I love George's writing and why I love this world of this story.
This sequence is a way of showing how our series does interconnect with that future series, and the events that are happening now do have an impact on how that future is going to play out.
Daemon is the one who finds these eggs, and then we're going to see him have a vision of Daenerys' eggs in the fire, which are the fossilized, lichen-covered eggs. It's been really fun to make sure that these are glistening, shiny, lovely eggs that you could believe would hatch, and then get to display Dany's eggs again, which are canon to Game of Thrones.
All of these epic tentpoles of Game of Thrones universe were there. What Geeta did, which was incredible, was sort of piece them all together into a narrative and have it have this arc.
It brings a lot of the different elements of this great, brilliant show that we're all part of together. And I think that's really exciting.
You know your part.
There is a message from Harrenhal, Your Grace. Daemon has raised his army, but Sir Simon fears treachery.
Harrenhal is a Riverlands location. It's often ensconced in fog and mist. When our line producer showed us this location, all of us looked at it and said, that's the basis for Harrenhal.
I loved Wales. I just can't get over the landscape.
And the location was extraordinary. It felt like we were in this other world.
I had some ideas of how Harrenhal should be before we went to Wales, but then most definitely those Welsh locations fed into the whole design process.
It just felt like a perfect place to stage a very lonely castle to sit in a totally desolate, epic landscape.
Adam, come with me.
Daemon and Rhaenyra approach Harrenhal via a dragon. The approach to Harrenhal was one that we spent a lot of time mapping it out with visual effects in previs, but then when we had an actual location, it was important for us to take a drone up and see what that approach would be like.
When Rhaenyra flies in, that was massively complicated because Harrenhal's so big, and we wanted to try and capture that scale, but also capture the island and the God's Eye Lake.
As she flies around Harrenhal, she just sees troops and troops and troops through visual effects, then extended to thousands of army.
If you read the books, these armies were 30,000 troops coming to war. We literally were doing the maths on how many tents we would need to house about 30,000. It's just a massive scale of army.
This quarry had this magnificent ramp. We really wanted to stage the scene on the ramp because from the ramp is this incredible view down the valley. But we had to get very special permission to get everybody up on that ramp because it's a rather dangerous place to be.
There are dangerous pitfalls and sinkholes and sheer shafts of stone and reservoir runoffs.
Anything that's off the beaten track, which that most certainly is, and literally up a single road track halfway up a mountain, is always going to be difficult when you've got that amount of infrastructure that comes with shooting a show like this.
There were incredible challenges shooting there from a number of levels, but it was so worth it.
Those days are the ones you get home and think, oh, we did it. Oh, we got it done.
Welcome to Harrenhal, my queen. I did not think to see you here yourself.
When we did Daemon bending the knee to Rhaenyra, we did it on a blue screen stage. We used some very high cranes. We had a 70-foot crane on that occasion and a 40-foot crane working together.
We thought of the scene, King in the North with Jon Snow. We also thought of, even from last season, when Aegon gets crowned. There's all these sword in the air moments in cinema history and in Game of Thrones history.
We had quite a lot of people, but we need to make it a full army. We shot different elements of this army in order to replicate them and make it much, much bigger.
It's also that castle environment outside of the windows, towers and other pieces of architecture.
By the time the visual effects department have put their touch to it, I think it'll be a spectacular sequence.
We fight for our queen!
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a season wrap on Emma.
I would take my daughter and her child and leave it all behind. It's too late.
We end the season with Rhaenyra having been left with the burden of decision whether to move forward with the war or trust Alicent and take the throne.
We pop out of the very intimate moment to remind people that armies are on the march and all of these big pieces on the chessboard are moving.
The montage was a very exciting thing to read on a page, very epic. We storyboarded it first to get an idea of how it would flow, and we really wanted the camera to be moving and show the epic scale. We designed very specific shots, really, for the different armies. The shot on the bridge, when we boarded it, I said to Geeta, this is an impossible shot. I have no idea how to do this.
It was one of those things that we previewed, and we were like, oh, I don't think you can shoot that. Sometimes you have to build something, which is what we did in that circumstance.
I described how we wanted the camera to move and what we wanted it to do. Working with our team, we figured it out.
My brilliant key grip, Alex Fraser, designed a system that would run on ropes that were controlled by guys pushing dollies.
I had 2 tracks parallel to each other, 72 pulleys, 6,000 foot of tech line.
It worked beautifully. It was exactly what we wanted.
3, 2, 1, action.
We start at a height of about 60 or 70 feet above the bridge. And as the army marched towards us, we approached on these cables. We got lower and lower through moving dollies.
I had one grip to travel the camera on the wire and had another to descend it down.
Alex caught the camera, and then we do an extraordinary pan around.
Even with me stood there watching it on the monitor, knowing all my background, stepping out the way of the camera and stepping back in, every time it happens, I was looking at the monitor going, how is that working? It was an incredible shot that was going to pickle people's brains for a little bit, I think.
We then dropped down between the army and saw their boots going past us, about 40 or 50 soldiers. They really gave us a very hard challenge, which I was very proud of my grip team and camera team because I think we met it, and it's a very spectacular shot right at the end of this season.
I think it's going to be a powerful moment in the end of episode 8, jumping through all these characters and all their story arcs.
When you cut it all together, you really want it to send chills down everybody's spines and to be this memorable thing that everybody thinks about while they wait for the next season to come out. It's definitely our show saying, you gotta come back and see what happens next.
The end of the episode is like a boiling pot. It's incredibly exciting knowing that now there are so many more Dragon Riders.
Well, it certainly doesn't look too good for Team Green. You shouldn't be putting your eggs in one basket at this point. The pendulum could swing the other way very quickly.
It's about to kick off, big time. That's what I have to say.
It's been an incredible experience to see the things that we wrote on the page come to life, and to see the hundreds and hundreds of people that have poured their talent into it is humbling and exciting, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, definitely.
I'm just intensely grateful for all of you, and I'm in awe of the incredible talent and effort and dedication, and the fact that you all still are smiling, which touches my heart.
I feel kind of like Ulf at the very end of his story, right before Silverwing finds him. I've been running through a cave in the dark with a torch. I'm quite tired, but I think I claimed the dragon, and I'm very proud of all the work that the writers, directors, cast, and crew have done on this show, and I'm very, very grateful for it.